Today I have the great pleasure of talking to Randeep, CTO of Bharti Airtel, and very welcome, Randeep.
Thank you, Erik. It is a great pleasure to be here. Always interesting to be in Ericsson headquarters.
And we have been talking about the fantastic introduction of 5G in India. The numbers are staggering, I think, in data uptake, in terms of number of users, and of course the 5G rollout itself. How is it going now with the transition from 4G to 5G and the uptake on the 5G side?
I think it's going great. It has been almost 7 quarters since the service got launched in India, but the ramp up and the build up has been very, very fast. We chose NSA. That gave us a good advantage of coverage because that was the first thing. Then we looked at how we can offload our 4G traffic onto 5G so that our investments on 4G can kind of plateau and we can invest more in 5G. That has worked very well for us. And I want to thank Ericsson here because a lot of new features, especially on improving camping of people on 5G and using more 5G in 5G and 4G colo. We started with 15-20%. We are now close to 30% of the traffic in a colo site which goes on to 5G. So it has been great. India market has also seen a device really pick up. Now 70-80% of the devices which get newly sold in India are 5G. So this means we will really see this crossover of 5G device coming very close to 4G devices, and that should be great.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic development, and the fact that there's so big part that is 5G, I think that's very impressive actually as well. So they will enjoy the better experience.
It was very competitive, you see. India is a very competitive market. Out of the 3 players or 4 players, 2 have launched 5G. So first we thought it will be an urban play, but then in the race to make it available or democratize the technology availability to all parts of India, we went to all the urban headquarters first, or main urban cities. All the urban is now covered. But then we found that even the rural areas had same number of 5G devices as urban, maybe a 1 or 2 quarters delay, which means now the rural area is also demanding 5G for the sheer speed and the experience improvement it does over 4G.
And that network experience is so important going to 5G. And we've been talking about this, I think, across the world in terms of what drives monetization of 5G. How do we make sure that that greater user experience and the new network basically can actually be a good revenue source? Any thoughts on that?
I think the first part is, if you see India's 4G speeds, we were lamenting at like 140 in the world or something like that. And then ever since 5G has launched, we have jumped up positions. I don't know what is the current number, but maybe a top 25 networks in the world, something like that. That has happened because of 5G. Yeah. And it has not happened because of 5G because fewer users are using it, because more and more users are using it. I think the market is going to reach to more than 100 million 5G users. So that is one big part. But you still find that the 5G networks are still having enough capacity to how do you monetize it? I think the first use case which our country is using is FWA. We have capacities, and there are a lot of places where people need home broadband, but there is no fiber. It takes time to roll out, we all know, and it's a land grab to capture those customers, mainly because they want to work remotely, but more because now entertainment is shifting to from linear TV to OTT TV, and hence they want their smart TVs to be connected with Wi-Fi. FWA is a great journey and great way to monetize, especially connect those areas where there's no fiber. And we are seeing a very high uptake of it. And I think this will be the first use case before we go into those complex API-based use cases.
Yeah, we should maybe talk about those as well. But just fixed wireless access is great to hear. India, of course, huge opportunities to serve both mobile and residential with the technology. And then, as you said, combining that with fiber assets that you have in your case would be very, very complementary. But if you look at some other markets, we sometimes talk about US and the growth of fixed wireless access, it really shows that it's a very competitive service. It is a broadband service for sure.
It is a broadband service, especially if you are not having a very high uplink kind of a demand, which could be very specific to a certain use case. But in normal, you are very heavy download if you're watching entertainment or you're doing a VC. So it's a classical download heavy. So FWA serves very well. And especially those areas where you cannot roll out, or we have areas in India which are copper, and right now it has been put all under concrete, and digging is very difficult for fiber. So this is one way you can capture. So it's great.
Great. And then you mentioned APIs. Of course, we have already the API economy on the CPaaS, Communication Platform as a Service, including Airtel IQ. But now we're talking about network APIs. We're talking about new capabilities. Could be advanced security services in the financial sector, or it could be more advanced positioning, could be quality on demand and so forth. What's your thinking around those?
In my mind, on 5G monetization journey, we are just getting started for a couple of reasons. One, the 5G was first, whatever we have done is 5G coverage and probably use the throughput or the speed part of 5G to monetize whatever we could. But there are a lot of other capabilities which we can do on latency, guaranteed bit rate, positioning, silent authentication, things like that. If you combine 5G and 4G, because a lot of them can be done on 4G as well, I think we need to, as telecom ecosystem, move up the value chain and start to monetize that. And looking at a world which is full of spammers, scammers, safety, security for banking or the financial sector, authentication is very important. Where there are so much of frauds. Can a telco play a role there and move up the value chain and also create it as a fraud-free or a spam-free society? I think we can, actually this could be the first use cases which should come up.
And I think the assets, to your point, they are truly within the network. This is a multi-factor authentication for certain critical applications where all the data around, of course, whereabouts, position, are you where you are claiming you are, and all the way up to more advanced security in the endpoints, in the devices, hardware roots of trust and other things that can be leveraged to create secure services.
And here I believe that unlike the traditional SMS monetization of APIs where probably the quality of your network and the experience doesn't matter, but if you are an operator which takes pride in customer experience, in giving better quality of service, using the best of technologies, best of software features, I think there you'll find you'll be able to monetize better compared to somebody who's not doing it. So I think this is additional reason to actually spend more time improving experience of the customer.
It was a promise of 5G, and now we see it's happening for real. We see some of those really advanced use cases. I mean, mobile reporters requiring more uplink performance. You have the security cases that you mentioned now, or frankly, any other in the XR or Gen AI space. They will be those new drivers for network performance. So I think that is going to be very clear in terms of best networks and the 5G performance driving some of those new needs. But I think it's also encouraging to see that we get some inbound interest now from other industries, basically asking you and your peers, what can we really buy today? Because these are capabilities that we would like to have.
I think I really want to agree and underscore what you're saying, that now we are seeing interest coming from industries where they are wanting to talk to us, how we can help them do better. I mean, if we were to call up broadcasting industries which broadcast live events and they may not get time to set up a reason, it could be a sudden event or it could be something where they need, and they can have a 5G slice network to backhaul their live feeds, or it could be a first responder network which need to respond and solve the problem. It could be so many such industries. I think these are the cases which is giving us a possibility that 5G monetization is around the curve. But it also says that it will not work like the previous ways where you set up a network, they consume, there is no communication, no dialogue. We'll have to co-create these use cases. We'll have to commit the service agreements or SLAs we agree to and make sure that the use case is successful. Then scaling is very easy because if it is working in one country, it will definitely work in another country.
So great to see that we are on that journey, and the proof point and some of the new commercials and some of the new businesses actually coming in, right?
I agree. And AI around the corner, and if you imagine you want to not use the compute on your device, but you want to do compute on the edge, and here is one technology which gives you a low latency access to the edge to get it done. So I think the edge story is also coming near, so I think there are many interesting things which are in the, you can say, in the play.
I think now you almost open up a new field, because what we have learned from Gen AI and things that are more in terms of new applications is that they actually depend even more on high performance networks.
Absolutely.
If it was possible to live with voice and text with good quality in the past, now you need two-way video. Now you need this communication with Gen AI that requires high performance, XR, immersive communications. And I think that it's just really just at the beginning of that. But that edge will then be even more important because it's one way to guarantee the performance. And of course, data resiliency and data sovereignty aspects could also drive some of the edge opportunities.
Absolutely. I think 2 points in my perspective. One is you will find a way of monetizing your journey of giving best experience. So operator giving better experience will be able to monetize better with others. But second is because you will get into industrial use cases or government use cases, the onus and responsibility of safety, security and resilience will be even higher on us to make sure we deliver that service because it could be a national interest service.
Great, Randeep. I think this is exciting times. I feel really privileged to part of driving the industry together with you. And I think it's also so that while we tap into some of these new opportunities, being open and working with a broader partner ecosystem will really be the key. So it's exciting times for all of us.
And thank you, Erik, and thank you, Ericsson, for being such a wonderful partner in creating this journey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.